Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and I'm taking care of business. Joining me today is Don Kottick, who is president and CEO of Sotheby's International Realty Canada. Thanks, Don, for joining us again.
Well, thanks, Mario. Thanks for having me back. Always great to see you.
Well, you folks have the top tier real estate report out. We're talking about Calgary here, and what I found intriguing is that the sales in the luxury market are up 82% year over year. Why is that happening?
Well, I think there's a number of reasons. I think that, the the Calgary market has gone through economic revitalization. We're seeing a lot of tech companies, a lot of businesses coming out to Alberta. I think we've been talking about this for quite some time, but the average price in Alberta is substantially much more affordable than it is in all, when you compare it to Toronto and Vancouver. It's even less than it is in Montreal, which is enjoying that similar kind of lower average rate. So I think all told, this is making Alberta finally, a great destination. And then whenever that happens, the market gets active, and the average price is probably creeping up. And so that's why we're seeing an 82% increase in the million plus in all market types within the Calgary market. And this would probably be greater if we weren't suffering from this chronic undersupply of real estate. So that's really how we find ourselves here.
Yeah, you know what? I think from looking at the report, there's a bit of a difference between the single family market and the condo market, right? From the luxury perspective, single families are much more popular in terms of sales. Why is that happening?
Well, I think we did a study on Gen Z that we talked about another time, but I think everybody aspires to have a detached home. The problem is there just isn't enough inventory. And what happens is when they can't find that detached home, they look for an alternative dwelling. And a lot of times it is the condominium is the affordable destination. And that's why in the million plus range we're seeing basically it's up 250%. But I mean, that's compared to the same time frame last year. We're not seeing as much movement in the 4 million and the 10 million plus category. So really it's shifting priorities, finding that home that you can afford. And if you can't afford a detached, then you're probably your next best is going to be a nice condominium.
Yeah, when you look at the luxury market in Calgary, and obviously, you touched on this a little bit before, but $1 million for a home in Calgary gets you a heck of a lot more than a $1 million home in Vancouver or Toronto. Is that becoming an attraction for people from other parts of the country to look at Calgary in the real estate market?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, there's definitely a lot of migration that's happening. We're seeing migration happening, to the East Coast. We're also seeing, people from Ontario looking to relocate in Alberta. We're seeing people from BC, looking to relocate to Alberta. And let's face it, like it's on a political spectrum, it's a much more kind of open environment, and it's a little more freedoms we're seeing than some of the other areas of the country, and that's drawing people to the country. And not to mention the fact that the price of oil has gone up, so economically it's coming back. Businesses want to relocate here, so there's jobs here, and the fact that they can get a home is definitely creating this momentum that is drawing people to Alberta.
And you think that momentum will continue on for the rest of this year?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, rates are going to go up, but I still think, from an affordability perspective, it's going to draw people. We've got some recent federal kind of changes that are proposed. Are going to be coming down, like the foreign buyer tax. I know that there has been interest. We've been tracking interest from China. We've been seeing a lot of interest from, down in Texas, specifically the Houston Calgary corridor. So we've seen that with kind of the reinvigoration of the oil through the price increases. So I guess it's going to be interesting how the rest of the year performs, but I think we're optimistic that rates will not be a deterrent, and all these government mandates that are coming down, they under the guise of increasing affordability, which they surely will not have any impact on affordability, hopefully don't dampen the market, and we see things going the other way.
So I'm curious, Don, for the rest of the report itself, in other markets, anything caught your eye of what's happening in the other markets?
Yeah, I mean, it's still the same issue of, we have a chronic undersupply of inventory right across the country. The federal government still, is, focused on, things like foreign buyers, which represent, no more than 4% of the market. I mean, politically, it probably sounds good to some of the constituents. So the federal government is bringing things like that. They're exploring other things, but the government always targets the buyer side of the equation. When, once again, as you've heard me say before, we need to build more homes, right? Not just talk about it, not create other workarounds. And the other issue that we have to deal with is, we've got a shortage of workers to build more homes. We have a shortage of materials to build more homes. So even though we want to build more homes, who's to say we can, because of all of these restrictions? So, once again, it's the government brings forward stuff, and there's always unintended consequences when we get government intervention in anything, right? And so, the reality is, we definitely need to focus on increasing the inventory in Canada. We're seeing that right across the board, and we've, in other markets, and answer to your question, we're seeing a bit of a normalization. Like, things are, after the peak year last year, we're seeing markets normalizing a bit. We're still seeing the shortage of detached, which is forcing people to go to the condo market, because we're seeing a bit of a surge in the condo space. But time will tell about some of these government mandates that are coming down.
All right, super. Thanks, Don, for joining us today.
My pleasure, Mario. It's always wonderful to see you, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right, super. That was Don Kottick, who is President and CEO of Sotheby's International Realty Canada. I'm Mario Toneguzzi. This has been Taking Care of Business. Thanks for joining us today.